And over here, I have no idea what is in develop. Is it talked or chalked? So you see some of the things. I think it meant talked in developing chalked. What does that mean, anyways? Chalked. So that the English, when I use big English, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, chalked. Anyways, don't you always try to use plain English? Express yourself plainly. Don't try to use big English that you also don't even understand, or that will just completely make the sentence look completely off, or throw the content of your or the context of your of whatever you're writing off. Don't do that. Write plain English. So when everybody reads it, okay, they can understand what exactly you want to say. You know. So talked about in developing communication technologies. Contrarily, IM has become a successful tool in supporting information communication. A good reference over here. Now look at over here. Now we're talking about social media. This guy here, so a reference over here, regarded social media as an application tool that allow users to exchange and interact with one another, provided a means to create, edit, and share new forms of visual, textual, and audio content, as well as application to categorize, label, and recommend existing forms of content. Another reference over here defines social media as a platform of modern and electronic communication and a means through which users open online communication to share ideas, information, personal messages, and other related content messages. This indicates that social media are online technology platform that helps to correct or connect people that are both far and near. With online connections, a user can communicate with each other even on different planets, read books, listen to music, save and check relevant photos, and much more. So a lot more going on talking about the interactivity part, right? So almost obviously he's talking about the interactivity part. He's elaborating more on the interactivity part, which is the second problem statement, using good references. So that's a kudos over here. And Twitter is also about the same thing. So obviously a chunk of uh, the material here are related more on the interactivity part, if I'm not mistaken. Because if you talk about Twitter, it's all about interactivity, right? We've not really talked about the poor information flow. Are we catching on, guys?
Yes, sir.
If you notice, most of his write-up are more addressing, are more talking about the second problem statement, which relates to what interactivity, right? Right,
Yep,
guys?
yep.
So now we're omitting the first problem statement. We're not talking about that one. Let me see. So instant messaging effects, the same thing again. It's all about interactivity again. Instant messages and relationship in schools. Entertainment, blah, blah, blah. Heavy users. So you notice that, yes. So practically all of his write-up for his literature reviews on chapter 2 are all about just one of the problem statements. The second one is completely missing. You get it?
Yes, sir.
It's completely missing. Because from this point on, he starts talking about the existing system, review of existing systems, which is supposed to be, which is supposed to be part of your reviews. So obviously, because he doesn't, I'm guessing because he doesn't have enough problem statement to talk about. That's the reason why he's probably narrowing down his his chapter 2, his literature review. So this is what you say. This is what you consider a poor chapter 2 here. because you've not really talked about the problems that you wanted to what? Address. Well, actually, you talked about one of them, but what about the other one? Okay. So some of the issues, guys. Yeah, the existence is supposed to be about reasoning of existing system. We talk about uh, their limitations and what have you. There's no need to talk about objectives. No, when you're reviewing systems, uh, don't talk. Like I said, avoid bullet points. You're supposed to have an argument, a discussion, a debate going on. So if you're going to review existing systems like WhatsApp, the key thing here is you're going to start talking about the important what WhatsApp does, what it accommodates, and what it doesn't accommodate that you think your system, when you build it, would accommodate. So sometimes when you're reviewing system, keep in mind that you're supposed to review the system on the basis that they have challenges that you want to address in your system. So if you pick a system and it doesn't have any challenges that relates your topic or your problem statement, then do not talk about it. Do not even factor that system in your design, in your review at all. Like for instance, why are we talking about WhatsApp over here? WhatsApp was designed for a specific purpose. I don't know if it has any limitations. If you want to talk about limitations, the guy designed WhatsApp to address interactivity between people and groups. That's what it was designed for. They didn't design it to have to accommodate course materials or to accommodate learning management systems. No. So in that preference or in that state, you can't say that it has a challenge. Are we good, guys? So keep that in mind. Whenever you pick an assistance system to review, make sure that it has some kind of challenges that people have talked about. The other authors or reviewers, researchers have also talked about. Now you think that, hey, when I build my system, it would capture some of those challenges. So I don't know. For interactivity purposes over here, I don't really think WhatsApp has got any issues or downside that needs to be incorporated within this document over here. So he's supposed to be looking at systems that have got learning gaps within them or implementation gaps. Okay, so that's just for this one, and so it should be all about you having a discussion back and forth. Okay, I like the fact that it's got a lot of reference in here. I've not read the documentations, true and true yet, but the reference are very well done. The in-text reference are well done. So keep in mind, you need to know how to do the in-text references. This is not an appropriate in-text reference. You don't indicate the website address in an in-text reference. So this is a no-no. But majority of it are pretty much well done. It incorporates the Harvard reference, which is supposed to be using within your write-ups. So that's a Harvard reference. That's a Harvard reference. Another Harvard reference, a good reference over there. A good Harvard reference. So these are the in-text references, and an in-text reference. In-text reference. So obviously there's quite a number of research going on over here. The only thing is they just revolving around one problem statement. Okay, so he needs to focus on the second one as well and write more about that as well. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's about it for this one over here. Okay, and do not have a conclusion. There's no conclusion for every chapter. No, do not include conclusion. There's a whole chapter dedicated for conclusions. So do not include a conclusion in any of your chapters until you get to what? Chapter 6 or 5, where you have the conclusion part. So don't conclude your chapter 1 or chapter 2. No, get rid of this stuff. You're not done with the documents yet in your conclusion already? No. Okay, there's a whole chapter dedicated for conclusion. And include a reference page so we can know where you're picking up your sources from. Okay? Okay, so that's for this, guys. Let me go to the other ones. Let me see. I don't want to pick a DIT. They're just just a staggering of issues. So I'm not going to pick a DIT one. Let me pick. Let me see who's got some from the chapter 2 guy. Let me see 14. Okay, so here is a biometric, guys. This is a biometric as I've already reviewed. Yep, so this guy has got to, I want to see this, design and development of a biometric employee attendance management system. The students involved, and I know he's got this table of contents. That's good. That's what I want to see. So the things I wanted to see. And then, see, that's a good documentation. See how it's justified nicely. The problem statements. So this is where I went through and I said, I did my comments. And I said, try to put your key problem statement in paragraph so we know those are the issues that your chapter 2 will elaborate on in your literature review. So within this, when I went through his, I noticed that these were the key problem statements. The rest were just talking about a whole lot of stuff that I don't know if they were just trying to talk about the certain things. Anyways, let's go through that. So problem statements. Innovation technology today with mobility have increased the requirement to have more protected and reliable access through predefined gateways. Very interesting first paragraph or first few lines. Many organizations are trying to identify accurate, safe, and reliable techniques to protect access rights to their existing services and operations. Now, the rest, like I said, was just pure off base. Biometric is one answer to those concerns. Various physical features, including faces, eyes, fingers, hands, veins, ears, teeth, blah, 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 can be used by this technology. And characteristics such as guides or voice patterns are also being investigated and analyzed as part of the wider biometric field. Biometric offers a secure method of access to sensitive. So the rest of the stuff doesn't talk about a problem statement. It's just elaborating more about this stuff. So to me, there's no point to all of this because they don't tell us about any other problem statement. This is the only problem statement that was identified. When I went through it, it was just this line. There's this line over here is the problem statement. The rest are just, yeah, personally, they're irrelevant because they don't talk about any other problem. You're supposed to state out your problem statements, and tell us about why there are problems. You get it? So tell me about the various forms of biometric tools or features. It doesn't tell me about why, security, access rights, protection of services is a concern. It doesn't talk about that. If you go through this entire write-up over here from here, all the way till it's ended, it doesn't talk about anything that relates to these problems that he identified over here. Accuracy, safe, reliable techniques to protect. So, like I said, what I got from this entire problem statement is that one, there's issues with protecting. There's issue with identifying accurate and safe, reliable techniques to protect access rights. That's one. Bottom line, the rest is just nothing. So now a guy like that will struggle with chapter 2. They're the kind of guy that will go completely off board, start talking about all kinds of irrelevant stuff. Because they've not really stated clearly what their problem statements are and why they are problems that he wants to address. So once again, when you are talking about your problem statements, try to elaborate more about it, within the chapter 1, just more briefly. So if accuracy and safety are the biggest issue here in terms of access control or protection of access rights then tell us why it is briefly, and then move on to another problem statement. So yeah, talk about those. But you start talking about, patents and biometric fingerprint recognitions, and it doesn't tell any other problem. It's just basically talking more about biometrics. It doesn't, according to the title, it's supposed to be a problem statement, not about biometric devices and their features. No, the title is what? Problem statement. Not about biometric answering questions or concerns using facial recognitions, eye, fingers, offering a secure method of access. No, are these problems? If you go through, are they problems? Do they fall on that problem statement? So the title of the subheading is problem statement. So tell us about the problems. Don't talk about the designs of the system of the application or whatever. No, tell us about the problems here, because there's a whole chapter dedicated for all of this, which is chapter 2, where you break down a lot of these information to us. What forms biometric? Yes, all of these are supposed to go into chapter 2. All of this should actually be in your chapter 2 instead. They shouldn't be here. This goes into more elaboration on what biometrics are. So they shouldn't be here. They're supposed to be in chapter 2. Let it be just problem statement. Tell us about the problem here. Okay, so that's why I made that comment. Try and put your key problem statement in paragraphs. so we can identify them. Because all I see is just this as the problem statement. The rest, they are just, they're not problem statement. They shouldn't be here in the first place. Okay? So obviously this guy's got a lot of work to do. And the aim, like I said, just the title. Look at that. The aim of this project are to carry out a careful study, blah, blah, nonsense. No, just tell me the title of your what, of your project. So to design, what is it? The title. To design and develop a biometric employee attendance management system. That should be the aim. That should be the aim over here. To design and develop a biometric attendance management system. That's it. Nothing else. It's just one line. Objectives. So now look at objectives over here. I said, let the how be objectives. I got you pointed out. Let the how. Too many objectives that can be summarized into what? Into key action words. Limits the objective to only 5. He start going on and on about to store, access, manage employee attendance data for every department. How? How do you store becomes objective? So this is not an objective. This is telling us about what a system will do. It doesn't tell us how it will do it. The second one, all the employee attendance data will be stored and managed through employee attendance management system. Same thing, it doesn't tell us how. The system enables, no, that's the same thing again. So all of these, wrote a whole lot, and they don't really actually, talk about anything that relates to how or the objectives. To automatically calculate numbers. How do you calculate automatically the numbers? Employee attendance management system enhances. How does it enhance the calculation process? How? To generate warning letters. How do you generate the warning letters? So the warning letters or attendance report. So this will be about what he could have just written to form an objective is to say to design to design a system that would generate warning letters and attendance report automatically to accurately what I'm trying to rephrase this to form an objective. So what should have been an objective should have been the form of to design or build, more or less to design, because you have to design something that would help you generate the warning letter. So in this case, the best way to go about it is say to design a form, to design a form that would generate warning letters as well as attendance reports automatically with accuracy and details on employee attendance. Yeah, that should form the objective over here. That's how I would have gone about it to form an objective. Yeah, to design a form that generates warning letters as well as attendance reports automatically with accurate and detailed information on employee attendance. So that should have been the objective over there. Over here, he says employee attendance management system would help to analyze. How would it help to analyze? The how becomes the objective. This is just telling about what the application will actually provide as a benefit. I see a question over here. Said, please, where can we access this recording after? When it's done, I'll post it on a YouTube page for you guys. And then what else? The attendance reports will be generated based on blah blah blah. This and this could be combined as one objective based on what I just put across. So you need to design something first that would help you generate those warning letters or attendance reports with accurate and detailed and required details of employees' attendance. See how just simple it was to form the objective? So so all of these needs to be reworded. Needs to be reworded to form better objectives. And then significance of the organization, obviously, academia. He didn't really elaborate about how it's going to benefit academia, so I had to comment on that. So according to what you said, this study shed light, so academia, look at what it's writing. This study shed light on the need for replacement some of manual system with automated systems and enhancement of potential preparation and validation of the work system. I have no idea what he's trying to talk about. Discovery of how competitive in the fields of information and system to parenthesis analysis and design is also appreciated, and development of an increased knowledge and skill. See, the English is not flowing very well. And it's obvious not talking about anything that relates to academia, how this will actually benefit academia. So this is complete nonsense over here. So there's nothing over here that talks about how the system would benefit academia. Government, he actually did a pretty good job on that one. He said the public service is confronted with a number of challenges, among which is poor work culture, discipline, and employee motivation, as well as inadequate professionalism, due to the fact that the final decision are the mandate of service commissions, which in most cases takes months or even years to be communicated. He puts in a reference over here. Challenges of human resource management in the African public service, African policy. Wow, in the African public service, African policy. Review website, this is wrong. He needs to work on how, you're talking about how the system will benefit government. Let's talk about that. So will it improve maybe the government sectors and how they manage attendance from employee or performance from employee? Talk about that. You know, the biometric system will basically improve how management or HR monitors how employees perform or how the attendance flow are well captured, or how the attendance to work are well captured within the system for better reporting as well as other decision-making processes. Talk about that. That should be how it benefits government. You know, but all of the stuff over here, they're not really talking so much about how the system will benefit government. I hope you guys are catching on some of these things.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So,
but sir, I have a question too.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. When you look at the literature review side, You see, I was looking, following